Alright, guys, so this is episode 113 from the PFL Music Podcast. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Rumble, or BitChute. If you're listening to the podcast, either or. And also, if you're listening to the podcast in Anchor.fm, make sure that you just share with your friends. I'm going to really appreciate it. I'm opening a lot of accounts and different social media. It seems like things are spreading a little bit to different sources, so hopefully people can just follow me in the other areas. This is your host, Pablo Ruiz Vargas, and let's get into it because it's a little bit late, and I want to make sure that I get some sleep because tomorrow I have a couple calls that I need to take care of. So today's topic is handling negative people. Okay, people in general, right? What are those? What is the effect when you hanging out with negative people? Is it good? Is it bad? What is it that makes a person so negative that you don't want to be surrounded that person, right? We know how addictive can be negative emotions, very addictive, right? We know that when you have a barrel of white paint, right? It looks all clean, all white. You put a little bit of black color, you know what happens to that white paint, right? It gets disturbed, right? So that's how negative emotions are. So what is a negative person like? What is that? So based on one of the research that I did, is just a constant worrying, complaining about anything and everything, lack of confidence, and gloom and anxiety can be soul destroying, right? These are traits that are very common among negative people in life. As they say, there will be always good time and bad times too, right? So basically what they're saying is people that are always worrying, complaining about anything or everything, lack of confidence, gloom, anxiety, less likable, gossiping, all those things, right, are bad. Okay. Now, as a leader and as a person that you need to just control your life, there's things that you need to have in mind when you're dealing with people like this, right? First of all, let me just go with this. You have to do your homework, okay? As soon as you start sensing negative energy, you have to learn how to really, really, really know the situation, okay? And I'm gonna be talking about negative people in the workforce, right? I'm a salesman, and I deal with a lot of people that do sales job, and you're gonna find a lot of weird things, right? You're gonna find people that are not trustful, people that are trustful, people that are liars, people that are, let me just calm down, people that are not to trust, people that are very harsh, people that are weak, people. You're gonna find everything. But most commonly, you're gonna find a lot of people with masks, right, and liars. It's the nature of the business, right? So when you start just going around, right, you can sense a lot of things that make you think twice. You have to make sure that when you get that gut feeling, you will be you'll be amazed that 9 out of 10 you'll be correct. Okay. When you start sensing those things, when you start having those red flags, you will understand why these people are in certain situations, right? And when you get that feedback, most of the time you will not be wrong, okay? So first, when you start dealing with employees or bad people, do your homework, okay? Now, another one is conduct damage control and documents. Negative employee, right? Can do exceptionally more damage to your morale, to your team, or your business, okay? It can literally destroy your business. If you have one person, let's say this person is a great salesman, this person just the best of the best, right? But his behavior is very bad, and it put the morale of your team down, right? You need to just step in and just take a decision. Now, if you're working with someone, right, and that person, you're still allowing that person to behave and make sales, right, but nothing is being done about, right, that says a lot more about that boss that you have, right, than that person itself, right? That means that your boss is not strong or doesn't have the integrity enough where he doesn't know that this person is just literally infecting your entire environment, and then you're gonna have people just, getting out of the job. Okay, and also it does influence the way your team can produce. Okay, so you have to know where's the damage control is happening, and why you still have people like this in your job. And if you're in a job that you're in a job site, or you're working with employees, and they're still in your job site, I mean, it's time for you to just, or you need to go, right? Or approach your boss and tell him the situation. He doesn't want to do anything. Hey, it's time for you to move on. And I'm gonna tell a story about one of my jobs in the past. We have very weird. One of my last jobs, we have very weird people working, right? And I have nothing against people that wanna improve themselves. But these people make a lot of weird mistakes, because I found out about it. Very bad. We're talking about stealing. We're talking about manipulating people. Very bad behaviors. Now, they were working with me, of course, and we noticed that a lot of things that they were doing were manipulated, and they were bringing all those bad behaviors to the company. And even though I approached my boss as, let's say, like a concern, the way they approached the situation was very weak. And since it was very weak, that's all I needed to know for me to make a decision. I just left. For the reason is that if you don't have the integrity, right, to do the right thing when you have situations like this, I don't want to see anything else, right? Because that means that if you are weak in this area, right, it means that you can just bend your knees to the highest cravings. Okay, to conduct damage controls and documents, and make sure that you always scanning things around. Okay, model the behavior. Don't let people or employees drag you down. Lead by example and avoid workplace or gossips about that employee. Okay, don't gossip. I don't care if your boss wanna call you. I don't care if you have to call your employees. You say don't gossip, because gossip, what it does is just deviate you from the process. Okay, and the more you can just avoid these situations, the better you feel. Make sure you're out. Your boss called you to gossiping, cut it out. People called you to gossip, cut it out. Sometimes it's just better to be alone and do things alone, and have your employees as employee, right? And just have communication about job, but do not mention any other name, because it does destroy, right, your work environment, and does destroy the real meaning of the job, right? So don't even become that negative person, okay? Or don't even participate in certain activities. Now, the next one is reinforcing behaviors that you want. Okay, when you are an employer, right, and you have employees, right, you want to make sure that you always reinforcing the good behaviors and not the bad ones. For the reason is that it's harder to maintain good behaviors. So you have to give more attention to those. It's easy to just get bad behaviors because they're more attracted emotionally than the good ones, because there's more momentum to it. Okay? Make sure that you always praising good behaviors, good attitudes, right? Good approach, good results. All those things, right? And the bad behavior, don't even acknowledge them. For the problem is that those bad behaviors will always come back to you as a boomerang. Okay, you don't want to be part of it. Okay, so make sure that you always incentivize the good behavior, and it does not only go with employees and employers. This always go. This goes with your personal life, family, friends. Okay, people that you are around it with, right? Always make sure that you always pleasing good behaviors, because you always need to expect the best from people. Don't expect 50% for nobody. Okay, 50% are mediocre people, and you're not a 50%, right? You're a 100% person. Make sure that you're always incentivizing good behavior, and the behavior, of course, that you decide. All right. And the last one is know when it's time to finish. Enough is enough. Know when you need to just finish. Okay. You have done all the above, right? Let's say all the things that you already done, and the negativity persists. It's time for you, to put a stop, right? And say, you know what? This is the end. And I have experience where I was working with someone. I was doing canvassing, and this person was very toxic. But when I say toxic, like he would treat people bad. So because I don't allow that, I complained once. They sat down, and I say the first time that we sit down, okay, good. I thought things was gonna change. Didn't change. Sit down twice. Something happened. I sit down twice. Second warning. Third time twice. Third time that we sat, nothing changed. It didn't change because that person was a high producer. Being a high producer, the company needs him. But the company was not noticing that before him, there was other 5 high producers that left the company because this person was very toxic. And the company chose him. So I left. Left completely. Happens to be, I received a call a couple months ago. The company is going downhill. Of course, that's obvious because certain behaviors were accepted. Some of the people that made the wrong decision, they're not now with the company. All these things just always come back, right? If bad, think about it. If bad negative people, right? Where or what's the way to go? The closest of your closest friends, right, will be in the top. Not saying that money can't inflate your ego. I'm not saying that. It could. But think about all those people that always were negative around you. Where are they now? When you go there, are you suffering anxiety when you talk to them? Are you suffering a certain way where you feel very uncomfortable? Exactly. That's the point. You always have to be prepared to walk away. Always. In order for these things to really work, you always need to have your position to walk away. And the core of that being is because you cannot control people like that. You can control yourself. You can control your state of mind. You can control certain dynamics of you, but you cannot control them, since they have their own will to manage behaviors. And all this come down that if you are working with employees, right, or employers, you can only control what you can accept, right? Or let it go. That's all you can do. See this. Right, my final thought is that even though you are dealing with these kind of people, you have to understand that this is just part of the process of your daily life. In order for you to move up the ladder, you have to deal with these kind of people. And the reason is, it's just they are just a test of life to see where you are as a person. right? And always start from the point of view that where can I fix things? Am I wrong in the situation? Am I wrong to just call people out? Am I wrong to just make certain decisions? Am I being the negative person here? Let me just make sure that I'm not accusing anybody. I might be the reason that things are going wrong. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the fact that you might be thinking that you are the problem. Now, if you're not the problem, be willing to accept that, hey, I'm okay to be right this time. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't get over, excited, but have it in mind. Okay. How to manage negative people or a negative employee? It's just a long experience. You will learn to get through how to negotiate. Don't be afraid to negotiate either. It's okay to negotiate. That's a very good alpha trait. Make sure that you know how to negotiate. And if you don't like something, that's okay. It's okay to say no. Until if you're in a deal that you don't like, it's okay to say no. It's okay. That's why we're here. You say no, right? Everything will be fine. You'll feel better. You'll feel better walking away from a deal that you don't want it than making a deal that you know in your guts you didn't want in the first place. Don't be the person. Okay? Alright. This was episode 113 from the PFL Music Podcast. Very happy to be closer now to 125, right? And this year, very happy of that. Just because I've been doing a challenge, a longer one. So I'm very grateful for the fact that I've been consistent with this. And thank you for you guys for being part of it, of course. For my family as well. I'm really enjoying this process. Make sure that you like and subscribe. YouTube, Rumble, and BitChute. Of course, if you're listening to the podcast, Anchor.fm, make sure that you share the content with